Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Azulam here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for the love and support. I really appreciate you all. And if this is your first time of coming across my channel, please subscribe and turn on the bell icon so that you get to know anytime I put up a new video. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a ball gown with front cape for a 9-year-old baby girl. So if you're interested, let's move down to work. I have 3 yards of an African print which I'll be using for this project. So I will start by drafting out the front pattern. Okay, like I will always advise to have a line as a guide, okay, before starting drafting out your pattern. Okay, so this is the line for my own as a guide. Okay, so actually this dress is for a 9-year-old, but she is on a very slim side. She is not chubby at all. So the shoulder measurement is 12.5. So half of that is 6.25. So I'll put that here. She is slim, but she has a very broad shoulder. So this is 6.25 there. So I'll mark that point. Okay. Then I'll come down by ½ inch for the shoulder slope. Okay, so this is the ½ inch here. Okay, so now for the neck width, I'll be using 3.25 for the neck width, which is here. So I'll connect that point first, after which I will mark out the armhole. Remember to mark out the armhole. You can measure around the armhole, okay, and divide by 2, or you measure or you divide the shoulder measurements by 2. That is if the child is not close to you. So for this now, if I divide the shoulder measurement, which is 12.5, if I divide the shoulder measurement, which is 12.5 by 2, it will give me 6.25. But because the girl is very slim, if I use that 6.25, it will be too big, as in the armhole will be very wide, and I don't want it like that. So because of that, I'll be using 5.25. Okay, so from this point now, I'll mark out 5.25, which is here. Okay, so now I'll mark the shoulder here, which is 6.25. Then I'll connect it to a straight line. Okay, so this is the chest line now, which is here. So I will now check the midpoint. Remember, I use 5.25, so I'll simply fold my tape to that point to determine the midpoint. Okay, so that is the midpoint there. So I'll come in by 3/4. Come in by 3/4, which is here. After that, now I will insert the chest measurement, which is so the chest measurement is 25. So 25 divided by 4 is 6.25. So this is 6.25 here. Then I'll add 1 inch, okay, for seam, which is this point here. Okay, after that now I will connect it like this. Okay, so now I will now measure out the waist. The waist is 23 inches. So 23 divided by 4 is 5.75, which is here. Okay, plus 1 inch for seam. And that is here. So now I'll connect it straight. Okay. Then the bodice length is is 11 inches, okay, plus 1 inch for seam, making it 12. So this is the 12 there. So, and that is how simple it is to cut out the front pattern. Okay, remember we are going to add a cape to this, so please watch till the end so that you get to see how I did all that. And please do not skip the ad. That is the only way you can support us. Okay, so for the neck depth, I'll be using 3 inches as well, which is here. Okay, and I'll just connect it and give it a simple shape. After this now, I'll just cut it out. I have. So now I will take this now and cut out the back. So this is what I'll be using to cut out the back. So I'll first and foremost remove my 1 inch for zipper allowance. So I'll just mark that 1 inch all the way down. Okay, and then I'll connect. So this is it after connecting. Remember the half length, we are working with 12 inches. The seam allowance is also included. So this is the point there. So I'll just connect that to a straight line. Okay, so now I'll take the front and place it on top of this. Okay, just like this, because I want the shape of the armhole for the front to be the same with the one at the back. So I'll just place it together like this, and let me pin it first. So on this neckline, I'll just come down by ½ inch. Okay, although I'll be making it a deep neck, but let me just mark this out. Okay, so I'll just connect it from this point. Okay, so now I'll just cut it out. I have for the back part. So now on this area, I'll be marking out ½ inch. Okay, from this point I'll remove ½ inch, then I'll cut it and connect it back to that point, so that at the end of the day we will not have one longer than the other. Okay, so I'll just give it a slant and join it back to that point. Okay, so when I'm sewing, I'll just make it very neat. So now for this area, I want it to be very deep. That is the back. I want it to be very deep, so I'll be using 6 inches for that, or I'll use 5½, so that by the end of the day I'll end up having 6. So this is 5½. That's the line. Okay, I'll just connect it. I don't want it too deep because the girl is slim. Okay, so this is the point here now. So now I'll just use this and connect it to this point. Okay, in this shape. You can always freestyle and give it any shape of your choice. So now I'll be cutting this off. That is how I want the back to be. I have the front pattern and this is the back pattern. Okay, so now I will show you how to cut the down part, after which I will use this pattern and place it on my fabric and just cut them out before we now start sewing. So for the down part, as you can see, I folded my fabric in a triangle way. That is the same way you fold your fabric when making a half circle. That is the same way I folded this. So for the full length of this dress is 36½. So if you minus that from the bodice length, which is 11, sorry, the full length is actually 35 inches. So if you minus that 35 from 11, which is the bodice length, the remaining is 24 inches. So that is what I'll be working on, this down part, 24 inches. And for this down part, I don't want to make it flare the way it is on the thumbnail. I want to gather this a bit because the girl is slim, so that it will give her a little, to be a little full for her. So now I will just, since the waist measurement is 23 inches, I will make that times 3. Okay, so that by the end of the day, when I'm done gathering it, it will give me exactly what I want. So 23 by, so 23 into 3 places is 69. So if I divide that by 3.14, which is the formula for half circle, it will give me 21 point some numbers. Okay, but when doing this, always consider the length you're working with. Make sure you have enough fabric to cover all that. Okay, so you have to calculate your fabric so that you know at the end of the day you don't have issues. So from this point now, I'll mark out the 21 inches. So this is 21 inches here. Like I was explaining, here is the 21 inches. So I will now check if what I have remaining from this point will be enough for the length for the down part. Okay, this is the point here, and this is where the fabric ends. So I will check if I have enough. Okay, so here I have 24, which is very okay for me, but when hemming I will just take it small. Okay, I hope you understand why I said you should make sure you have enough fabric to cover that. So do your calculations very well. So I'll mark out that 21 inches down to this other end. So this is 21. Okay, so this is just the 21 that I'll be working with. So I will just cut out this side. I will be gathering it. Okay, so this side can also be enough for the upper part. As you can see, at the end of the day, your fabric is not that wasted. If you're afraid that you'll be wasting a lot of fabric. Okay, so this is now where I will mark out the length, okay, of the down part. So I'll be using whatever that is left here is what I'll be working with. This is 24 and quarter. So I'll just mark that out. Okay. I'll connect it to the other end and I will just cut it. Remember, when doing this, when cutting out the waist area, remember to always add your 2 inches for zip allowance for the down part. Don't always forget that. So now I will just mark that to the other end and I'll cut it. Frontscape, you can see this is what we cut out from this down part. So I'll be using this now for the frontscape. I'll fold it into 4, the same way you fold when making a circle dress. So I folded it, and remember the bodice length is 11, so that will be 22, 11 for front and 11 for back. That is 22, because I want this cape to pass through the back as well. So that is 22 inches plus 1 inch for my seam. That is 23. Then I will add another 11 inches because I want to gather it a little to give me exactly what I really want. So that will make it 34 inches. So now I will divide that 34 inches by 6.28. So if I divide 34 by 6.28, it will give me 5 and quarter. So I'll just mark out from this point here 5 and quarter. As you can see, I've changed my tape. The other one head just cut. So this is 5 and quarter here. Okay, I'll mark that out all the way down to the other end. 5 and quarter. So after marking it out, I will now determine the length of my cape. Okay, so for this cape, I would like to make it 5 inches so that by the time I'm done sewing it, I'll end up having 4 inches, which is very okay. So now I'll mark out the 5 inches, okay, all the way down to the other end, after which I'll now cut it out. Then if you have your hair stay or gum stay or cloth gum, anything you have, you can use to gum it so that you have a very firm cape when you finish joining it to the dress. Okay, because if you join it like this is an African print and it's very light, it will not really stand. So that is the main reason to gum it first before joining that. So this is it after cutting it out. So now I will just open it up in just one end like this. Okay, remember this will now be double because you use the same fabric to line it. If not, it will not be very okay. So I'll cut out this now again, the second one, which I'll use to line this. After that, I will now join it on the upper part. So before all that, let me start with the upper part by cutting all of them out and start joining it by the shoulder. Starting with the cape, as you can see, I use hairstay on this. So this is the one I'll be using to line it. So I'm going to take this now and place it on top of this, making sure that the front is facing each other. Okay, so I'm going to stitch it. I'm going to stitch like this, then I'll now stitch this all the way down. So this is what I have after stitching it. So now I will now turn it over and I will give it a good press and I will keep it aside. After that, I will now take this upper part and I will join the shoulder first. So as you can see, I have joined the upper part. This is the shoulder. I'll just join it together and I did the same on the lining. So now this is the cape that I want to use. As you can see, I've given it a good press and I've used my gather stitch to run it. So I will just gather it a little to give me the length I want. I just want it to be in the front and at the back as well. Okay, so now I will gather this a bit and you can decide which side you place your cape, but for me I'll be placing it on the left side, which is here. So now I will just gather this a bit and I will place it on that side. So this is what I have after gathering it. Like I said earlier, this is really optional. If you like, you can just make it a normal flay. Okay, but this is how I want mine to be. So now I'm going to place it over like this. Okay, I'll mark out, this is the midpoint here. I'll mark out 2.5 from this midpoint. That is where I'll be joining this. That is where I'll be joining this. So from this midpoint now, this is 2.5 here. Okay, so this is it. I will do the same on the back side. Okay, after that now I will now place this over like this, because I'm going to sew like this. By the time you turn it, you have a clean work in the front side. So I'll just turn it over like this now, and I'll use pin to hold it to the other end. After that, I will now run a straight stitch on it. See, I just pin it. I was adjusting it. As you're pinning, you adjust until you have what you really need. Okay, I'll keep on adjusting. Okay, so now the next thing to do is to sew that sew it straight, after which I will now place my lining on top, and I will sew and turn it over the same way I used to do my other videos or my other tutorials. So now let me just run a straight stitch on this. So guys, this is what I have. As you can see, it's already looking beautiful. So now I will take the lining and I will place it over like this, and I will start by sewing the neckline. So I'm going to sew the neckline first, after which I'll top stitch, then I will sew the armhole and then turn it over. So guys, this is it. As you can see, I've closed the armhole. So now I'm going to turn it over, after which I will now take, this is the down part that I cut earlier. So I will gather the waist area and I will join it on this upper part after closing the chest and the waist. So this is the down part. As you can see, I've gathered it already, and this is the front. I've closed the chest and the waist together. So now I'm going to join this upper part with the down part, after which I will now cut out the lining. So this is what it looks like after joining it with the upper part. So now I'll cut out the lining and I'll add a little hardness to it, after which I will now join it here. I have 1 yard. Okay, so now I'll fold it in a triangle way, same way you fold your fabric when making a circle dress. So I'll just fold it over. After that, the waist of this dress is 23 inches plus 1 inch for my zipper, that is 24. So I will divide the 24 by 3.14, which is what we use when making a half circle. Whatever it gives me, that is what I'll be cutting out from this point to anywhere around here. So 24 divided by 3.14 will give me 7. So I'll mark out the 7 from this point here. This is where 7 is. I'll mark that out, and I'll mark the same 7 all the way down to that end. After which I will now mark out the length of the lining. Remember, the length of this dress we used 24 inches. So for this lining I'll be using 22 inches. So I'll mark out 22 from this point. Alright, that is what I have on the dot. So this is 22 inches here. By the time I'm done, I will end up having 21 inches. So this is 22. I'll mark that out all the way to that end, after which I'll now cut all of them out. Then I'll use my hard net and sew on it. And this is my lining, so I added a little net on this, so I'll just join this lining to the dress and I'll close it up and show you the final look of the dress. The final look of the dress, as you can see, is already looking beautiful. Okay, for the zipper, you can check out my video on how to fix an invisible zip to a ball gown, and you'll get to see how to do all that. So for more information, you can check the description below and you get to see every other information that is not included here. So that is it for today. Please subscribe if you have not, and don't forget to turn on the bell icon. So guys, see you soon.